Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attacker Productions. Today I Bankrupt joined again by Jake, Tanner, and like always, Fluff.
What's going on, y'all?
Hello.
What's up, beautiful people?
And today's matchup is Jake versus Tanner. Tanner's brought back Gotenks, one of his all-time favorites, and Jake is continuing his streak with SS4 Vegeta. Like always, buttons down below, but let's get into today's matchup.
So, green is kind of one of the more difficult matchups for SS4, just because a lot of your game plan is like holding cards in your hand. So, I was a little bit worried going into this matchup, considering Gotenks is aggressive and has the potential to rip a lot of cards out of your hand. So, I wasn't really sure how this game was going to go for me, but I figured I might have to play a little bit goofy to get the game, get things done that I needed to.
And the interesting thing about the game already is I think we both agreed that we sent six back, and then the six we got were not favorable hands. And I mean, those are the breaks, but I remember us both kind of looking at each other like, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, there's a couple. I forgot how interesting and how many crazy play lines there are in this game, actually.
Yeah. Plus, you're like flexing on me with your drop area. Or I'm sorry, your energy area.
Well, a lot of your deck's power plays have deflect. So this God Sealing isn't doing much for me, and I might not live to see turn 5. So I thought it was pretty smart charging the ape as well.
So this was something I meant to ask you, and it's probably just my lack of exposure to it, but why do you play the super combo before comboing it off? Is there something that reads that you get some benefit from that?
So when you cast Zeno, you get to draw a card when he comes into play, and his super combo effect only works during your opponent's turn if you have 5 life or less. We were talking about how our hands weren't ideal starting this game off, and I would much rather swing at you and cast one, or and pay one for UI, and get 5 more combo power and draw a card for the same amount of energy and the same number of cards. But I need to push this damage to ramp because your deck is so aggressive, and playing the Zeno is really the only way I can get to 20k power.
I know you play 4 each of those cards in your deck, don't you?
Yeah, 4 Beerus Destroys, 4 Zenos, and 4 of the Ultra Instinct Kamehameha.
That just not seeing that in turn 1 just hurts. And I've played your deck before in the RPO tournament, and I had a round where that happened to me.
Yeah, it really forces you to think on the fly and like reconsider how you're going to go about your game plan, because your strongest turn 1 or turn 2 play is just non-existent for you.
I have to say, I do think it's very interesting that both these leaders are Vermilion Bloodline set 11 leaders, and I do feel like they've stood the test of time. Like, I still think they're great leaders, and I think it's a testament to how good that set was. And I always think back that I thought that set was terrible when it first came out, and how wrong I was.
I've always loved Vermilion Bloodline. I think it's probably my favorite set.
You charging that tragedy over ground was like, I think my butthole literally tightened, because I'm like, what the fuck is that? Why is he running it? Like, it was interesting.
So in some matchups like Sin Shinron, your opponent will let you ramp a lot because they want to be at low life, and they want to just play a bunch of battle cards on turn 6 and run you over with it. And if you can get to 6 energy, you can get to 9 energy with the SS4 Vegeta, and then on your next turn play Tragedy, and hopefully lock them out of their bigger Shadow Dragons for the rest of the game.
It's interesting. That's really cool.
Yeah. And in most matchups, it just goes directly into the energy, and if I get into a situation where I need it, I just pick it up with a Zeno super combo during my opponent's turn and cast it when it comes back to me.
And that charge is going to eat me alive near the end of this game.
Oh, yeah, the Fusion Piece charge. Well,
Yep.
it made me feel pretty safe to go ahead and drop the Ready to Rumble, because I felt like you had a lot of fusion material in your hand, and there was going to be a lot of attacks coming at me if I didn't make this play.
Yeah, I was very unfamiliar with Ready to Rumble as well. I liked it. It was very, very interesting. Kind of a cool card. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't have a lot of exposure to this list. I know you've played it. I know Fluff's played it. Bancroft said he's played it. I think Jimmy's played it. But for whatever reason, I don't remember the list very well. And there were a lot of things that you played that were kind of new to me, or at least I guess I've been out for a little bit, so maybe they're sort of new because I don't remember them. But it was a fun match because I definitely learned a lot about the archetype and learned a lot about kind of some of the lines of play. And now I'm going to stick that card one out.
It's changed a little bit over time as like newer cards have come out, but it's a really fun list. I think you should try and play it, like even if you just borrow my deck or something one day, and just really try and get a feel for it because it's a lot of fun to play once you like kind of know what you're doing with it.
Yeah, it looks like it's a lot of fun. Now you said blockers can be a bit of a hang up for the list, right? Because I remember we talked about that afterwards.
The earlier you can get a blocker on the board against this deck, the more of a cog you're going to throw, or more of a stick you're going to throw in their bicycle wheel. Like, the leader swing is so important, and being able to deal with it without activating a negate and letting the awakened side restand is just really nice.
I actually need to stop you right there because you said the word negate. Unfortunately, that is a misplay, and it will occur this turn. The leader is when your opponent activates a counter, not necessarily a negate.
Oh, so the Frieza would trigger it.
It did, and you do. He negates your leader swing. You will restand it, but unfortunately, leader does state when your opponent activates a counter, restand this card. So it could be a counter play, a negate, or a counter. But it's already been procced, unfortunately, by this point.
Yeah, I don't think I swing with it again this turn if memory stands. So I don't think it ends up mattering, but so maybe I do.
You're saying
so it's
that
any counter, not just a negate.
Correct.
Oh, okay. I think you restand it on dormant, though, right?
Yes.
Right. But I don't think I attack with the leader again this turn, so...
Like, I really enjoyed, just on a side note on the deck itself, I've really enjoyed putting Surprise Attack Frieza in this. There's so much KOing going on that I think it is a good one or two of in the list. And it was something I was on the fence about. I've really enjoyed it. I was kind of curious what your all's thoughts were when you saw that card in the list, because Bancroft, you put the list together for me, and Jake, you played against it.
If I recall correctly, the 6-drop Gotenks, it says KO, it doesn't say place, if I recall correctly, right?
Right.
It does, yes.
So, I mean, yeah, you do have a lot of things that just naturally KO cards on play. Especially since, in fact, you do run for the Charismatic Villains, you run for the 6-drop Gotenks, you will get this Frieza off to some degree. And if someone were to just use a blocker negate on you and block the second attack, that's KOing it.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, and what I was thinking about is at this point you're really close to sell with just these two on the board. You could just hardcast one of your fusion pieces and go into sell.
Mm-hmm. Now, that is the one thing about my list that if you do not... Oh, that's right, and you told me that goes underneath. I don't actually run sell. I think it's a great card for the list. I'm not going to debate the merits of Cell because it clearly fits the list. There's a lot of ways that make 12, but I prefer the Bukai. And I feel like the Bukai helps with a lot of matchups where, like the Unison Dependent, or when like Dormant kind of becomes a little less viable. I think when you get in that like 2 to 3 life range, Dormant becomes a bit of more of a gamble negate than like a true stopgap. So I like having the Bukai as my SCR.
If I'm correct, its auto stops your opponent from swinging with battle cards, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's like it costs more in hatch, but in a sense, it's kind of like a hatch. I think your opponent can still, like you said, swing for Unison or leader, but if your Unison isn't doing so well, you can just steal theirs.
Yeah. And you hatched me, so I went ahead and decided I'd commit to the hand control element here a little bit, just because I thought that would maybe give me another chance to survive. And then I went ahead and tried the tap there because I thought the Zarbon was in the drop area, but then you put it underneath with your card, and that was a big game changer, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, so my initial plan here was to hatch later in the turn and try and get some more resources out of you. But once you played the Zamasu, like, you can't really tell right now, but the hand differential at this point, I think Tanner has like 7 cards and I have maybe 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, especially with rebrands in his drop area, he's starting to put a lot of pressure on me. And I'm basically in the mindset that I have to end the game now, or the hand sizes just completely take over. Like, the hand size differential completely takes over the game, excuse me.
And this pressure ended up, I know you debated back and forth on it. It was the right call because I ended up dumping half of my material that I could have gone to the next turn, and it became kind of a game of attrition at this point, which I thought was very interesting. Because I know you were kind of debating, you tapped one, untapped one, and I think it was really good. And that Unison, being unfamiliar with it, burned me twice because I should have just let the leader swing go through there and block the Unison with the homicidal clones, but I forgot that Unison was double strike. Like, that Unison puts in work.
In my opinion, looking back at this match, you actually made the right call by doing what you did. Because you did. Wait, did you dormant this turn?
No, I had no dormants in hand.
So, if you had took the leader swing and then immediately homicidal, you're at 1 life. And what Jake's here trying to decide about is that he's already committed to comboing Hatch at this point, with that tapping the energy, not playing another card. But he's debating about doing another combo here. And if you would have taken the life, blocked with this one, he would have had a 40k single strike coming at you. If you had no way of stopping that attack, then you would have been out, potentially.
No, that's true.
Yeah, so you played it pretty well. I spent forever like committing to this because I knew there was no way I could get Zamasu off the field unless I forced you to combo it off, and I felt like I could play around the Gotenks.
The top rope with a ruling here. Hatch could not be comboed because it leaves the battle area. It leaves the game.
Yes, that is right.
I am going back to my cave.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because once it leaves the battlefield, it is removed from game. I completely forgot about that. Yeah. So once you tap the one tap to remove it to the combo area, it is gone. Yeah, I completely forgot.
Well, I didn't know that.
I didn't either. We both learned something today, didn't we?
Well, that's what you get for not owning a card.
Were you borrowing that from someone?
On that.
No, I got it like last week.
But they had to feel powerful to get it last week. I probably should have swung with the Unison, but I don't know. With blue having a lot of opportunities, I figured it would just be better to take your hand away. And then I got so tunnel visioned here because I wanted to get you down to 3. And then I was going to go into this play, and I did not understand the Unison at all, that you could just blow this up. But my thought process was get you down to 3, crit the other 2, and then leader swing or whatever would take care of it. And that was just that was mistake number 1, which cost me the game. And then mistake number 2 is actually not being a douche, and you'll see this here in a little bit.
So, truth be told, you have been out for a while, which is understandable. But you're still at 4 energy. You could potentially make another Gotenks, which is an amazing card.
That's what I'm trying to do here. And Gotenks was the bottom card on the deck, and I should have looked through the entire deck, but I'm not going to do that because I'm pretty sure the rules state you have time to look through, but if you find the piece and you're excessively looking through, you're kind of being,
Yes, you could technically be called out for it if it appears that you're intentionally searching for another card. That is also hard to argue, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well,
That's what I was telling him after the game. Like, dude, it's okay. Like, you have a minute for each meaningful action. So, like, at this point, when our deck size is like 17 cards, you can just scoot through it.
yeah, but I went ahead and popped the goat Kuel to try to get the pieces, and I did not have 2 pieces in deck. So my plan was to go into the Gotenks and apply pressure that way. I did not have the pieces, so now I'm reeling, and I'm like, maybe I use this Frieza. I thought about just minusing 2 immediately, but you had the Unison to attack with, you had the leader card to attack with, so that wasn't going to do me anything. So I figured I'd at least go in with the Frieza and crit a life and maybe try to live. And then
real quick, his Majin. No, it's at 3 markers. Never mind. The lighting made it look like it had 1 marker on it. And I'm like, you could have just paid 1 and popped the Unison, but it has 3 on it, so never mind.
Yeah, and then I made another mistake. I was already just so frustrated with myself at this point. But I had a shocking death ball in hand, and I'm like, okay, cool. I will use that on the Unison or leader swing and sparking it. And then it's like, oh wait, no, you did Overwhelm. You can't spark because all your drop area is gone. Which is fine. Jake had the match already. Like and that's what I told him. I think in there it's like he had it either way. He played it really, really well. But just one mistake after another. But it's good. I learned a lot. I've been out of the game for a while, and sometimes I know losses suck, but this was a good loss where I learned a lot, and it reminded me of a lot of lines of plays and how much attention to detail you have to have on things when you're playing people at a high skill level. You can't make those mistakes. You can't make the small mistakes, or they will cost you. And that's all right. That's kind of the fun. But I forget how you kill me here, Jake. I think you just old-fashioned poke me to death.
Yeah, I have a bad habit of doing that, actually. I should probably, just close games.
Well, he is tapped out for 1 open energy. So in this situation, you probably could have done something like that.
Yeah, and I was hoping maybe, by God's grace, one of the lives would be a dormant, and that's the other reason I wanted to keep the Unison on the field. So, but no such luck. A combo out of that.
I will say, if you did -2, he wouldn't have been able to swing with that Vegeta.
Yeah, I think he would have gotten me on the Unison swing, I feel like.
He could have just comboed up knowing that if he swung with battle, he couldn't swing with battle card. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, that was my thought. But great match either way. Or I had fun. So.
Yeah, well, sorry I comboed Hatch, man. I had no idea you couldn't do that.
It wouldn't have made that much of a difference. I mean, you know what I mean? And that is a good thing to know going forward.
Yeah.
So
with that
can you combo it from your hand?
Yes, you can. I think it's the permanent where if this card leaves the battle area, you're moved from game.
Okay, and that happens faster than the end of the combo step.
Well,
okay,
that's because you're moving from the battle area to the combo area.
Right. So it gets instead implies an replacement effect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So with that being said, take your opportunity and keep in mind those buttons down below and on screen while Fluff does the outro.
Good game, guys. Congratulations to Jake on winning that one. As always, read your cards, know your plays, let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to, and Fluff out.